We are live. We are live. Am I coming through loud and clear? Hopefully. New setup. A little bit more professional, as you may have noticed. But it all means nothing if you can't hear what I'm saying. So let me know. Most professional setup I've ever had, and I've got nobody watching at all. I understand it's a Monday night. I don't usually stream on a Monday night. So Sean, can you hear what? Am I coming through loud and clear? Oh, it's good. Am I sounding like good? Like, am I sounding like professional, or is it sounding like, you know, is it sounding like a proper YouTuber? You know, if that makes sense. Because it's so. I mean, I know the camera looks better, but if the audio still sounds like a shitty laptop, then I'll be a bit pissed off. But hopefully, it sounds a little bit, you know. Sean, reply to me. Oh, good man. That's all good. Yeah, this is just a. This is not. This is like a bit of a. It's not really a proper. This is just a test live stream. I've literally hijacked my son's room. He's started doing a few night shifts. So his desktop computer is available to me, and my god, the difference! It's just like it's so good, man. Sitting on a couch in front of a 7-year-old laptop computer with shitty with literally it's the same webcam on this computer as I use on the laptop. But yeah, the difference just with the computer. I mean, just having like I don't know. I think this cost like 50. It was built. He got it built by somebody. It's like £1,500. The difference with this compared to like some battered old laptop that I've been using, and having to sit on a couch, just like leaning over to talk. When here, I can just lie back and just swing around on a chair. You know, I've been so envious of other YouTube. Not even other. Just people who I'm friends with on YouTube. Just like Jonathan Lawn. Peers, everybody. They've all got like a good setup. And I always thought that was beyond my reach, really. Only because you know it's just. I mean, I'm in the UK, and people who are in the UK may know what it's like being in a small house. I mean, I can't vouch for the guys in the States, but you know, a lot of them seem to have like these big setups, and like they seem to like they live in the American dream. A lot the guys who I see, they live in the American dream. They've got the big houses, they've got the fucking bunkers downstairs with like entire rooms decked out just for making videos. It's not like that for me. It's like it's a 2-bedroom terraced house. There's 3 of us, me, wife, son. But he's older now. He's like 19, and he started to work. He's got a new job, and he's been doing a few night shifts. So I said to him, "Oh, come on, man, just let me just borrow your computer when you're working night shifts, and let me just see what I can do with a live stream." And he was kind enough to. He was reluctant at first, but he was kind enough to sort of say, "Okay, I'll give you access to my computer. You do what you want with it." And I just fiddled around, tried to make sense of StreamYard and that on a different computer with a different setup with microphones and stuff. Yeah, so yeah, it's all. I'm really pleased with the way it looks. And because he's going to be doing like uh, he's he's going to be doing live streams. He's going to be working nights on a regular basis, weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as well as maybe overtime. So, um, certainly Friday nights. I'm probably gonna start trying to start doing a more regular stream on a Friday, just because this setup is so much better than if he's not working Tuesday nights, then it's going to be back sitting on the couch in the living room with an old laptop, which it's okay. I don't mind, but it's a bit of a come down after doing this. So yeah, so basically, yeah. It, but I'm really pleased with the way this is sort of like worked out. I mean, it looks good. Looking at the cameras, the sound apparently is good. Um, so yeah, this is just kind of like a mini test stream. Um, so basically, yeah, there's no set topic tonight. I'm just gonna probably like sit on here for like another like half an hour, 40 minutes, see if anybody else jumps on. But I've not really plugged this live stream either. I put a tweet out about 10 minutes ago. But yeah, it's so like Sean, if anybody else in the chat, if you want. Oh, yeah, okay. So Sean says, "Have you seen the new Hellraiser yet?" Um, I have seen the new Hell. Well, I'll tell you, like I'm an hour in. I was actually going to talk about this tomorrow, but I'm glad you brought it up because I'm like an hour into. I'm an hour into the new Hellraiser. I like it. I think it's when I saw the 2 hour runtime, I was like, oh Jesus, 2 hours really for Hellraiser. And I was like, do I really want to sift through? I mean, because I'm not the biggest Hellraiser fan. I'm really not. You know, Hellraiser to me it's like it's not even like in terms of franchises, it's way down there. And I've not seen anything past three. So anything like that went straight to DVD or video, I've not seen any of that stuff. So I'm not really the best person to sort of ask if you want like an honest opinion of how this matches up to previous films. I can only give you an answer compared to the first three films because anything after that, don't have no idea. But I like the film. I mean, again, maybe as I'm getting older, modern, as I get older, young people start to annoy me more in movies. So maybe they've probably always been really annoying. Like these like sort of like late teens, early 20s people. But I just feel like as I've got older, they just seem to be more annoying to me. And in this film is no exception. They're just like ultra annoying. They're just so I mean, they're so like Gen Z millennial types. Um okay, Lawrence in the chat, you look at ready sort of yeah, I feel like it, man. Um that's from having like you know what? My hair is just like I don't know what to do with my hair. It's like it's really annoying my hair in a minute. I'm just gonna put my feet up. Um this is so cool. This setup, I could just oh my god, where's this setup been all my life, man? I'm just gonna live stream every night now and just talk nonsense and just put my feet up and just yeah, yeah. In terms of the hat, you know what? It's like it's getting cold in the UK now. We're getting into October. It's getting cold, and I can't afford to put the heating on. The energy bills in Sean will tell you energy bills in the UK, and I think it's probably the same in America. Gas, electricity cost a fortune at the minute, all thanks to Vladimir Putin. Apparently, I'm not entirely sure whether that's true or not, but that's what they tell us. So yeah, it's a very expensive to heat your home at the minute. So it's only October; it's not too hot. So rather than putting the heating on, I'm just going to wear a bobble hat and wear a fleece hoodie, and it's all good to go. But yeah, I do look like I'm about to rob a convenience store. I do understand that. Um, Lauren says I don't have those hair problems. Look, Lauren, I mean, I'm seriously, my hair is seriously receding. When I blow dry my hair, sometimes just you can. If I shave my hair now, it'd be like pretty grim. The hairline is going, but so that's why I'm trying to make the most of what I've got. So by blow drying it and combing it forward, doing all those tricks you use. But yeah, a few more years, it's going to be getting shaved off. I've got no other option. Um, Yeah, Sean says energy prices are ridiculous at the moment. They certainly are. It's just insane, man. Um, what I was talking about Hellraiser, wasn't I? Yeah. Lorne, I don't know if you've seen Hellraiser, but what I was the point I was going to make about Hellraiser is the older I get, the less it's like the less I have in common with like younger people, and so like these Gen Z millennial types in movies, especially horror movies, they just they become more and more annoying the older I get. God only knows what it's going to be like when I'm like 70. I'll probably regard these people as a different species. But it's yeah, I mean Hellraiser was I mean I'm only an hour in and I'm enjoying the film, but they're not very likable characters again, and I don't suppose they're meant to be too likable. They are people with addiction problems. The girl's just she's not yeah, she's a bit annoying. The boyfriend's just he is a complete prick. I mean, I don't like him at all. But I think that's just the way it's meant to be. It's intended. You know, this film's all about addiction, um, and yeah, long gone are the days really when they cast likable characters in roles in horror movies. It just seems to be the way now that people are just dickheads, arseholes, you know, really, really nasty, nasty human beings. Which is probably a little bit harsh for the characters in this film, but you know, I just, yeah, I'm enjoying it, but it's one of those movies, you know, it's like it's a film I'll watch and I'll never watch again. You know, it's sure, really like the new Cenobites design. Um, I've got my problem with the Cenobites really with this film was from what I've seen so far, and like really, but I've barely seen an hour in. I've barely seen anything. I've just seen glimpses. But with um with the original film, there seems to be like a weight to the Cenobites. There's a weight, as in there's a feeling of physicality to them, which feels kind of lacking in this film. They feel almost so. I mean, they're not CGI, but they feel almost CGI. They don't feel like there's any sort of like. It's hard to describe. I mean, you know, when I say weight to like the original film, it just feels like grounded in reality. With these new Cenobites, they just feel ethereal almost, if that makes sense. They feel like they're almost like not there, even if they are physically there and it's not CGI. They just got this. Yeah, they not nothing nails the feel of the Cenobites like the original film. And Jamie Clayton, I don't think I've even seen it in the film yet. Maybe briefly, but um, I think with Hellraiser, you've kind of got that issue with Hellraiser, even though Doug Bradley doesn't really do much in the films. You know, he doesn't really appear that much, certainly in the first film. He's still got that iconic look, and it's kind of hard to pull yourself away from that. So when you do see somebody who replaces him, like I mean, the name of the film escapes me, but I think it was one of the straight to DVD movies, which is kind of become a bit of a meme. It's like notoriously bad version of Pinhead. I don't think Jamie Clayton's on that level, but it is kind of a little bit jarring when you see somebody who's impersonating Pinhead and they're just they're not really. I don't want to say up to the job, but at the back of your mind, you're always aware of Doug Bradley as Pinhead, and he, even though it's kind of a mask in a way, it's still his physicality. It's not like Jason, where really it is literally a mask and just a pair of eyes. Doug Bradley has got the facial features of Pinhead. You know, he's got the nuances. So when you do transfer it into another actor or actress, whoever it is, you can physically tell there's a difference. The way Freddy is, and the negative, the downside to having like these iconic roles of such as a Pinhead or Freddy. With Michael and Jason, literally you can just get another big guy and put a mask on, and there will be differences in slightly in the way they walk or the way they hold themselves, but it's not as jarring as something as Pinhead or Freddy, where you've actually totally can just pick up on the differences just by facial expressions. But it's I've got an hour left of that film, so I'm enjoying it so far. I'm sure the hours flew by. So it's like the old phone test, which is something I always, it's not something I always do, but you know, I do maybe unintentionally is the phone test. If I'm watching a movie, and if I'm distracted by if I just find myself getting if I find myself wandering slightly, I automatically just reach my phone and just like go on my phone for a couple of minutes. First hour of Hellraiser didn't do that. Was like invested in it. Um, but yeah, we'll see how it goes with an hour to. I'll watch the remaining hour tomorrow night. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's it's better than what I could have expected, really. So, Ben's in the chat. What's up, Ben? Ever get to that point of self-reflection when I've become that old guy who can't really seem to feel like, well, yeah, absolutely. I think that's me now. I'm trying to think at what point I got to that. Probably about like 6, 7 years ago. Are you at that point, Ben? Are you asking that? Are you saying that from your point of view as well, or just the way I'm talking, or are you of an age where you are like that? Because it hits everyone eventually. You know, as cool and trendy as hip as you want to be, you're down with the kids. You're down with the kids. I'm like, okay, mentally, physically, I'm 45. Mentally, I'm 21. Eventually, you get to a point where you're thinking, nah, fuck that, man. Yeah. I mean, right, let's go back to the chat. Sorry. Where am I now? Lorne says Hellraiser was okay, better than any since, and including Hell on Earth, which I've not seen. Let's be real. Only the first two films are any damn good. I like 3, which again, like after 3, I've not seen anything up until the new one, so I can't really speak for the future for anything after 3. I thought 3 was cheesy. I thought it was quite camp, but I quite liked it. I liked the guy throwing CDs to people's heads and stuff. It was fun. But I mean, like I say, Hellraiser's never really been my thing. Sean says, really, I think you said, I think I've discussed that before. Yeah, unrelatable characters are a core problem. James Clayton is really good as Pinhead. Yeah, I say I don't think I've seen him yet. Okay, I'm in a minefield now. I've made the mistake of I forgot. Is Jamie Clayton a trans woman? So Jamie, that's the problem. You see, she's called Jamie. So she was a man and is now a woman. Okay, so yeah, she's a trans woman. Okay, so she's yeah. Oh God, I couldn't remember whether she was a trans man or a trans woman, and because she's called Jamie, that confused me even more. But yeah, she's a trans woman. So she was born a man, now she's a woman, and she's Jamie Clayton. Lorne says she's the best thing about it. I like her performance on Doug Bradley's West as good as she is. Bloody hell, John. Lorne? That's a controversial statement there, man. I mean, only because I just assumed you were a massive Hellraiser. I don't know. I in my head I thought you were like a huge Hellraiser fan. Um, you know, probably would have been a big Doug Bradley fan, but that's I'm surprised you've said that. But fair play. Sure. Hope we'll get more of her Lorne. I mean, if this is a success, I mean, I think they probably will go with a sequel. I mean, I'd be glad with a sequel because so far I'm enjoying the film. So you know, looks more gruesome than flesh is more exposed. The level takes a lot away. it looks more gruesome. Their flesh and blood level 6 a lot away. Talk about his face that if you get feeling. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, the whole, I mean, the whole like woke thing, which I do call out this woke agenda a lot on Twitter and stuff, and it does get on my nerves. But with Hellraiser, it's not really. I don't really care because Hellraiser's always been, although it's never been explicitly like an like LGBTQ thing. You just watch the whole films. It's totally on board with you can imagine Hellraiser, the original films, being like quite popular in the LGBTQ movements because it is quite kind of like anti-establishment. It is kind of like out there in a way. It's not like norm. It's not like normal like hetero, that sort of thing. So I can totally get on board with Hellraiser being like that sort of like woke feel to it, even though it's not really woke because it's always been that way. I've never had an issue. I've not got an issue with that. My issue has always been with the woke thing, is where they just shoehorn wokeness into franchises or films where didn't need it, or where it's clear that they're doing it for brownie points, for like to tick off boxes. Hellraiser doesn't need to do that because Hellraiser's always been a bit out there. So Hellraiser having, gay characters and having a transgender Pinhead just feels completely normal to me. So, but that's the thing. If they want, if the next, Friday the 13th film, they made Jason, a transgender black man, I'd be like, oh, fuck off. Really? What is the aim of this? That would be just ridiculous. But with Hellraiser, they could, it makes total sense, really. Um, but yeah, I mean, um, worst Michael Halloween 5? I'd say there's worse in H2O, personally. I mean, hasn't H2O got a CGI mask, which is not actually a physical thing, and they've just CGI'd it onto his face? Um, Lauren says, kind of Sean. The Hell Peace Cat was described as sexless, but the main silhouette was the female. So Barker seems to have intensely conflated them. I need to do a vlog around my neck of the woods, because I know JT, who's the current YouTuber, the horror YouTuber of the month, and please, nobody's been voted JT's channel. I think I'm the only person who's voted. So if you go to JT's channel, I've not left a link in the description, but he's the current YouTuber of the month, horror YouTuber of the month. He's nominated his 4 new ones. Nobody's voted yet, so apart from me, I think. So please go over to his channel and vote. He's a good guy, JT, as well. And JT's a massive Beatles fan. So it's kind of like I sent him a couple of clips of me visiting John Lennon's house and Penny Lane, which I did for Jeremy's birthday stream on Piz's channel. But I need to do like a vlog just around sort of like my like where I live, because I can do Clive Barker's school. I could probably find out where Clive Barker was born, and then in the same vlog I can do John Lennon's house, Paul McCartney's house, Penny Lane, Eleanor Rigby's gravestone. Strawberry Fields. I could do all of it in one vlog in like literally 45 minutes, which is pretty cool. Like, I always say I'm going to do it, and I never do. But I'm always a bit like paranoid about walking around with like a phone, filming stuff, and people looking at me like I'm a freak. Um, the joys of living in a city where people, if you're talking into a phone, people just look at you like you. I don't know. Where am I up to? Ben says, "I guess I'm still aware that this is probably what old people when I was 22, though. So you're getting old like me, Ben." Um, I'm not saying didn't Barker usually get his rights back. I have no idea. I didn't know he'd lost the rights. To be fair, um, worst match. Yeah, 8-2-0 is just. Oh my god, 8-2-0. I recently rewatched 8-2-0. I can't remember if it was a live commentary or whether it was just I was just doing it. I just rewatched it for whatever reason, but God, the film is so slow to get going, and there's no blood. And a lot of people love that film, and I kind of like it for the time period that it was set because it brings back a lot of memories of like being like I think it was 21, 22. And obviously any film before I hit like 24, 25 kind of resonates with me. Anything after that, I'm kind of just like I feel like old and nothing matters and I don't care. But like H2O is like that sort of movie where you know it's okay, it's post Scream, but it's still got that Scream feel, and it's just it takes me back to a time when being 22 at that 1998 was just. I mean, I know people reminisce about the olden days. Like, I mean, I say olden days. I mean, I'm only going back 25 years, but and this probably sounds ridiculous to somebody like my mum and dad's age, who can reminisce to the 60s and the 50s. But you know, in this post-COVID world of just like, and just it just feels so bad at the minute. The late 90s would feel like a great time. They really do feel like a great time to be alive. And coming back off the back of the 80s as well, where I know we had our problems in the 80s. I know things weren't perfect in the 80s or the 90s or the 2000s, anytime. But I think you just, someone in the early 20s in the 2000, in 98, you're not really aware of the issues going on in the world. All you want to do is you want to party, get laid, and watch horror films. That was certainly me in 1998. Um, Maybe looking back now, there ain't maybe because I am older and stuff plays on my mind more, that I think times aren't as good now. But I still think there was something about that time in the 90s that was just like, movies felt more innocent at that time. Um, they were just more fun. I felt like, I did like. I mean, I think there's almost like too much social commentary now in movies. I just want to be able to just chill out and watch a movie and not be dictated to so much, which I think maybe goes on a little bit too much in the current day. But it is what it is. Sean says Hellraiser Bloodline isn't too bad. Studio butchered the film. Uh, Lauren says Sean, it's Mark Soberoff the same. Oh, I've heard you complain about this guy before, Lauren. Mark Tober, the same fuckhead who represents Victor Miller, snatched the rights back to Barker, which is why he has an executive on Hellraiser. Yeah, Tober equals. I've heard you complain about him before. Lauren, I think you were doing a live stream, I think, and you really like laid into him. Have you seen I've seen Night. I've not seen Lord of Illusions. I've seen Nightbreed. I mean, I saw that on release back in like 1990. Was it like 91, 1990? I remember liking it. But at the time I didn't realize it was Clive Barker. I didn't realize it was David Cronenberg playing a role, because when you're a kid, I was like 14, 15. I had no idea what I was watching. I just think, oh, there's a. I remember the video game more than the film because I remember the video game came out at the same time, and I just remember like that, like the monster with like this sort of like big like fat thing with like the drooping head which came down. I remember seeing that on the video game cover, thinking, oh fucking hell, that looks like it, and that's a film. I need to see that film. So I kind of saw the film through seeing the video game, but had no idea at the time. I didn't know who David Cronenberg was at that point. I was like I'd say it was like 13, 14. I didn't know who Clive Barker was, even though he grew up, 10 minutes from where I lived. Um, um, I was just more the recent. Yeah, Candyman. So an hour in, I definitely think this is a better film than the Candyman remake. I mean, I didn't hate Candyman. I didn't think the Candyman remake was terrible. I just it I did find myself kind of getting a bit waylaid with my phone. Like I say, the whole phone test. I was getting a bit like sort of sidetracked by my phone watching Candyman because I was getting a little. There were elements where I got a bit bored. Hellraiser hasn't done that yet, but you know, Candyman. I was never the biggest fan of the original Candyman. To be fair, um, I don't like. It's too urban for me. I like my horror films, slasher films to be more suburban or rural. I mean, Candyman is proper like inner city, isn't it? It's like Cabrini Green, um, inner city Chicago, and obviously in the remake, it's all been gentrified, and it's a totally that is plays into the movie. The whole gentrification of Cabrini Green, but yeah, I prefer my horror films to be more suburban or rural. You know, but I didn't hate Candyman. It just didn't. It just wasn't for me really. Um, Honestly, what's the chance we'll get a Friday the 13th film? I don't know. Ask Lorne. He's probably more. I can't answer that question. I don't know where we're up to with the lawsuit. I don't really follow it. Lorne is definitely the man to ask about that. He kind of made me angry. Sean says, sorry, so I'll put him. Okay, so we'll get a new Friday on Hulu within 18 months. Hulu though, really? For fuck's sake, I want a cinema release. Yeah, so it's good to get people involved. You know what? I misread that then. I actually thought for a minute Lorne said, I actually wouldn't mind getting another Friday Nightmare, Halloween, Chucky, and Chainsaw. I missed the Never bit out. I figured that doesn't sound like Lorne wanting all those films. I would love to get all those films all the time. I'm a whore when it comes to those movies. Maybe not Friday Nightmare on Elm Street. I really couldn't give a shit about Nightmare on Elm Street or Chucky, to be fair. But yeah, the other three franchises, I'll quite happily take them all day long. Sean says that my Clive Barker years ago was awesome. Dan, what's up, Dan? Dan's in a chat. What's up, Dan? Hope you like the new setup. Sean says, honestly, Lorne, out of all, I think Nightmare's done. Yeah, Nightmare's, it's been 12 years, man. 12 years is a long time in movies. I think Nightmare's the most at risk of not coming back, realistically. I honestly don't know what they're going to do with it. Robert Englund's not going to come back at his age, so what are you going to do, really? I mean, it is what it is. I don't know. Nightmare on Elm Street is done. I hate Halloween 5 and 6. I mean, I like 5. I don't like 5. Well, I like it from a nostalgic point of view. I like 5 more than 6 from a nostalgic point of view because when I watched 5, I was 13. When I watched 6, I was 19. So I was like pretty much grown up then. I think 6 is a better movie in terms of like the way the way it's shot, the way it's acted, the way it's directed. But I still like 5 more because the nostalgia of 5 hits more than 6, and because 5 is an 80s movie and 6 is a 90s movie, and I've always got that nostalgia for the 80s more than the 90s. Lawrence says, I expect the Nightmare on Elm Street announced early in 2023. Unfortunately, do you mean unfortunately, as in you think they're going to announce a new movie and you don't want to see a new movie? I'm guessing that's what you mean by that. Sean says, why? So obviously Sean doesn't really want any movie even. They tried remaking it, sucked, yeah. What's up, Steak Sauce? What's up, man? Are you streaming tonight? You changed the time, right? Because you used to stream like round about now, but then you've moved it forward to like. I mean, you stream like you stream now like crazy. Well, for me, crazy late, like sort of like 4 in the morning. So I had to watch it on catch up. Although, to be fair, I had to watch it on catch up anyway because usually I was in bed anyway when it was like streaming normally anyway. Even though Jess secretly loves Elm Street remake. Let's see now. Toe off again, Sean. He got the Craven stake the rights back, but share for himself needs a grifter. He's an entertainment lawyer who's made this rights of it like himself. Hallway's judgment was shot in my area. It could have been extra, but they wanted people on call for a week. I couldn't do that. Not the best. Look. Okay, just I'll catch up with more to chat in a minute. I just want to briefly, I'm gonna probably. This is obviously just like I'm gonna be live streaming again tomorrow night. Maybe really talk about Halloween ends. I just wanted to jump on tonight and really just try this out, but I'm really pleased the way it's gone. But I just wanted to talk about Terrifier 2 because I have not seen the film. It's not available in the UK yet. I know, Dan, I know you've seen it, and probably maybe people in the chat have seen it. But just in terms of it's done apparently really by its budget and how the amount of cinemas it's actually being released to, it's done really well, in terms of like money it's taken. And just wanted your opinion in the chat about where you think what it means really in terms of like for extreme horror, which Terrifier 2 certainly is. And for something as extreme as this and something as long as this, 2 hours 20 minutes, which is insane for a horror movie, even more a slasher movie. For this to be, a success in terms of like what it was playing to, what does this mean for the future of horror movies in a way? Because we're constantly sort of like looking at cinemas and physical releases, and it's going down the pan. It's going to die off, and then something like Terrifier 2 comes along, and okay, it's at the limited release, which makes the box office takings all the more surprising. I think it's done like a 1.5 million, 2 million or something, which for where it's been released apparently is really good. And just a movie this extreme to do that is promising. Really, it really is promising. I just think is this in the endless negativity of cinemas and the death of cinemas and the death of physical media? Maybe there's a light at the end of the rainbow. You know what I mean? It's maybe there's hope after all, because if something like this can get into the mainstream almost with in terms of ticket sales, even though it's so out there in terms of the gore, maybe maybe all's not lost. I mean, I'm just like I mentioned on last week's stream. Art is kind of got this potential to really reach into the mainstream, even though he's so out there, so extreme. Like he is kind of like the one of the only sort of characters from the 2000s. I think is really sort of I wouldn't say transcends horror films because he certainly doesn't do that. Not in the way that Michael and Jason and Freddy did, but he's certainly something. He's a character he's gaining like an iconic reputation amongst hardcore fans, and as time goes on, maybe if he can move on into the mainstream more, that that will be a good thing for horror movies. But unfortunately, obviously, if Terrifier 2 is a bigger success than expected and they decide to go with a bigger budget, then obviously you're going down the route of maybe, bringing down the gore, bringing down, if everything gets turned into slightly more R-rated, slightly more PG-13, everything gets like sort of diluted. But if that comes, if that's if if the expense, I'm trying to say is if that means more horror movies, and that pays the price almost, that franchise, then maybe that's a good thing, or maybe it's not a good thing. I don't know. It's just, it definitely feels that like Art the Clown is kind of just, he's become something like a little bit beyond the films. It's almost like Art the Clown could become bigger than the Terrifier franchise, if that makes it. It does not make any sense. Like, in terms of Art the Clown is now bigger than the movies. So what I mean by that is you've got like these hardcore extreme horror films which are totally out there, totally crazy, and totally non-PC, and could never be shown like in normal, you know, you certainly couldn't show them on normal TV. And you probably couldn't have Art the Clown on like, on the Arsenio Hall show the way Jason was in the 80s. But as Art the Clown like sort of transcended the films almost, or will he do? Because he's kind of got just such an iconic look to him that I can see it happening. But at the same time, that would maybe mean, you know, bringing the violence level down for any future Terrifying movies. I mean, it's something I discussed in last week's stream, and I just think that, they're sitting on a gold mine. I think the creators of Art the Clown are sitting on a gold mine. I think there's a potential there for Art the Clown to become like an icon of like, horror going forward into the next 10, 15 years. But unfortunately, that would involve completely taking away everything that makes him him and becoming like this slightly PG-13 character. But let me know in the comments what you think about that. Sean says Nightbreed Cabal cut was so good. Feel nothing to happen. Yeah, it's way better than the can. I think you're talking about Hellraiser there, Dan. Yeah. Yeah, me and Dan hated the new Candyman. Dan says I've been refreshing on some of the graphic novels for the big Hellraiser show. Right, where am I up to? I've kind of lost the chat slightly. So much great material there. Thanks, looking forward to it. Ben says so many people had said they felt it wasn't having including me, and I liked it. I mean, I don't really. I never felt like I was going to fall asleep. I mean, that's like so far an hour in, I'm really enjoying it. Candyman should be called Candyman. Whole high thing so stupid. Yeah, vote on JT's. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, anybody's not voted on JT's Horror YouTube month, go over there and subscribe. Well, subscribe to JT if you're not already subscribed, and yeah, vote for the new horror YouTuber of the month. How old is Robert? Are we talking about Robert Englund? If we are, he's about 78, I think, 79. He's old as fuck, man. He's really old. Outside the 9. What's up, man? Nice to see you on board. Lord, looking forward to Halloween Ends. Oh, it's gonna be Halloween. Halloween Ends crazy on this channel this week. Yeah, live stream tomorrow talking about Halloween Ends a fair bit, and then Friday night it's the Halloween Ends post mortem where I will be going over the film, what it did right, what it did wrong. You know, did it do anything right? Maybe. I've got really bad feelings about this film. Um, and I will just leave a link in the description as well for anyone who wants to jump on Friday night. If you've seen the film, jump on board and we'll discuss it. But I've got a really bad feeling about this film, man. Really bad feeling about this film. I don't think Dan's gonna like it. I mean, Dan hated the second film. I don't think he's gonna like this one. You're not gonna you can't pull you're not gonna be able to pull this film back. From what I'm reading on social media, it almost feels like they're saying if you didn't like the second film, you're not gonna like this one. Um, yeah, I mean, and there was me thinking 2018 wasn't that great. I mean, Kills, I like Kills on original watch to a point. I still found plenty of flaws. I did the live stream the very night I watched it, and I liked a lot of things about it, but I did have a lot of things I didn't like about it. And then I watched it again on the small screen, and you know, it's almost probably people should watch a film on the big screen and then watch it on the small screen and do vice versa, because I think if you watch a film on the big screen, you can get sucked into the event of just being on big screen, audience there, everyone involved, everyone reacting. You get sucked into it, and maybe gives you a slightly skewed version of the film. And then when you go away and you watch it on a small screen without anyone around, and you just you study the film, and you kind of start picking holes in it. Um, but you should also do the opposite. You could also say the same. Well, I find faults in a film on the small screen, and then I went and watched it on the. Although that very rarely happens, where you actually go and watch a film on the big screen after the small screen. But if you did do, you'd probably have the same impact. Well, the negatives I felt on watching it on the small screen were out, out ratioed, or if you, for want of a better word, by what I saw on the big screen. But because that very rarely happens, most people watch a film on the big screen and then they watch it on DVD, 4K, whatever they're watching it on. And yeah, so watching it on the big screen with a hyped up audience who are like the same as me, big Halloween fans, kind of getting sucked into the whole event. And then you go away and watch it on the small screen, and you kind of feel a bit deflated, because a lot of the stuff that you kind of either didn't notice or chose not to notice on watching it on the cinema, you take notice of more. I mean, Tommy was annoying on the cinema release. He became somebody you wanted to murder on the second watch on a small screen. Um, it's little things like that. But I mean, I'm not. I mean, I've not even decided yet whether I'm going to go and watch it on the big screen or whether I'll just watch it on streaming on Friday. I mean, literally, money's tight at the minute. Um, so I want to go and see it on the big screen, but I'm in work until like 5 o'clock. That would mean being in work till 5 o'clock, then racing out to go and see the film, being really tired, and then coming home, trying to get like an hour's sleep, having something to eat, and then going online and doing a live stream talking about the film. So it would probably be a lot easier just to live stream it and to watch it online, but to stream the film. But um, um, I don't know what I think Dan's talking about Terrifier 2 there, but I just remember like when Halloween Kills dropped last year. I remember I think it was Dan, you were doing the Flesh Room Features review, It was either you were doing it for Flash Through Features, you were doing it for you might be doing it for Region 3 actually. I think your like sort of like on-screen moniker was just like a franchise died tonight. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh fucking hell, Dan hates it. I think before they'd even got your opinion, it was your on-screen moniker was just a franchise died tonight. I was like, oh yeah. Dan really doesn't like this film. So I just thought that was funny. Like I say, yeah, I mean, Halloween Kills open in 10 minutes. Adored open in 10 minutes. Think it's some of the best Halloween we'll ever get. But you know, once we move into the modern day, it just didn't hold up as well. And I just say there was just some really, really pointless characters in that film. Tommy, but I'll just wrap things up now. I think just quickly go through the last few comments. Some of the best horror films of recent years for me are Saint Maud, The Witch, and Midsummer. I definitely agree with Midsummer. The Witch, I'm not a massive fan of The Witch. I don't mind it, and I've yet to see Saint Maud. I know Lorne probably hate me for that. I still haven't seen it, but I do love Midsummer. Sean also likes Raw and Titan, and X and Pearl. I've not seen Pearl yet because for some reason they've not released it in the UK. I like X a lot. I think X is good. Dan says, I think there's less enthusiasm for Halloween this time around. It'll be successful, but the energy in there for kills in there right now, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think it's been on a downward spiral since 2018. 2018 was like a huge hit. I'm not entirely sure why they went the route of streaming same day for kills. I can only assume it was to do with COVID because it didn't make any sense to me. Dan said it's been a fantastic for horror genre. Absolutely, it certainly has. Sean says whole copycat theory is stupid. Yeah, but I mean, I'm still not entirely sure what part that his name escapes me. The new guy. I mean, I don't really know what part he's playing, what role he's playing. I'm not entirely sure. Sean says, I'd rather watch kills over zombies Halloween films. Yeah, well, so would I. I despise those films. 126 are really good. Ben says, I do give me, I see if actually a bump in scores a better viewing experience. If it comes out at midnight on Peacock, it'll be hard not to press play until later night. Yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely sure what time it drops with Peacock. Like, what time? How do they do it in terms of you know, obviously how do you stagger it across the whole world? Because you got Australia at one end of the scale, and then you got, you know, the US on another end. There's a massive time zone difference there. So I'm not entirely sure what time it'll drop in the UK, but it will be difficult to like maybe to just like say, no, I'm not going to watch it. I'm gonna go to cinema because there will be a temptation for a lot of people, and that will be an issue for, you know, the film in general. You know, there's going to be so many people who are just going to choose to not even watch it on Peacock. There's going to be a lot of people who are just going to illegally stream it, you know, rather than pay the money to go and watch it on the cinema. But I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to wrap things up now, guys. I've been talking for nearly an hour. I will be back tomorrow night, maybe going into more detail about Halloween. This was just kind of like a test screen to just see how things went, and it seems to have gone really well. So, yeah, for everybody who jumped on tonight, thank you very much, and I will see you tomorrow night at the same time. Bye, guys.